Kale Jetson had one fatal flaw. He couldn't say no to drinks. Too dares, or too trouble, especially when trouble had curves or credits. And on Blood Spiral Station, a rotting satellite orbiting a dying moon, there was plenty of both. The station reeked of recycled air and desperation. It suited Kale just fine. He was nursing his fourth drink. Something green and fizzy that tasted like battery acid filtered through alien intestines. The bar lights flickered red-blue-red again, a heartbeat of chaos over the tables of mercs, miners, and shady Another round for the earther, growled the bartender, a six-armed Vargonian, who never blinked all three of his eyes at the same time. Kale tossed a credit chip on the bar. Keep M coming until I forget which galaxy I'm in. He glanced around. Nothing new, just the usual mix of questionable cargo deals, weapon mods on display like dirty jewelry, and at least 3 spies, pretending they weren't spies. Then he saw him, a violet-skinned alien stumbling between tables in wine-stained ceremonial robes. The alien bumped a table of Kranthian miners, spilling drinks. One stood, snarling, "Watch it, purple." The stranger puffed up. "Do you know who I am? I am Baron Zolgar of House 37. Noble." A punch cut off his lineage. He hit the floor hard. Kale should have looked away, but trouble had just face-planted next to his drink, and Kale had a soft spot for disasters, wearing royalty. "Hey." Kale stood. "That's my business partner you're pounding." The miners paused. Kale smiled, but his hand was already sliding toward the stunner under his jacket. "How about I buy a round instead?" 5 minutes and 20 credits later, the miners were laughing again, and Kale was hauling the Baron into a booth. "Didn't need your help," the noble slurred. "Sure looked like you did," Kale replied, signaling for water or something close to it. "You're earther," Zolgar said, eyes swirling like cucumbers soaked in vodka. "Last I checked. Let's test who holds." "Liquor better," the Baron declared, smacking the table. "I have no credits, but—" He produced a glowing, etched capsule from his robe. Kale leaned in. "What is it?" "Imperial Guardianship capsule," the alien whispered. "Worth more than this cesspool station." Kale held the capsule, warm, buzzing. Bad idea. He was good at bad ideas. "Fine," he said. "Let's drink." 1 drink became 5. 5 became 15. By the 8th round, they were ingesting substances banned in half the sector. Zolgar finally face-planted into a puddle of blue liquor. Kale, barely upright, took a shaky bow. The crowd cheered. He helped himself to the capsule as the alien snored, then nearly dropped it when it projected a floating contract in 17 languages. All it wanted was his thumb. Guardianship transferred, the capsule chirped in a polite voice. "What the hell does that mean?" Kale asked. But Zolgar was unconscious, and Kale was too drunk to care. He staggered back to his ship, the gravy train, a rust bucket with attitude, and collapsed into bed. He woke up to an alarm screaming in his skull. "Security override in progress," his ship's AI said with irritating calm. "What? Override?" The hatch hissed open. Kale squinted through the hangover and nearly screamed. 3 violet-skinned women walked onto his ship. The first was tall, statuesque, with a zip-down combat suit and golden feline eyes. "Daddy," she said without emotion. "I am Trisha, primary combat specialist, assigned to protect you." "What?" The second one stepped forward, slim, in a tech suit filled with tools. She adjusted her glasses. "I am Leary, technical expert. Diagnostics confirm you're primitive." "Fascinating." The third one jumped into Kale's bed. She wore glittering lingerie and sparkles in her hair. She sniffed his sheets. You smell delicious." "I'm Maya, the fun one." "Is this where we sleep, Daddy?" Kale clutched his blanket like a life raft. "Get off my ship." Trisha crossed her arms, her cleavage somehow a threat. "You activated the capsule. Guardianship is yours." Maya rolled onto her back, stretching like a cat. We're yours now. Forever. Kale reached for the capsule, shaking it like a broken remote. This thing, it was a bet, a joke. A hologram projected from it. Congratulations, Guardian Kale Jetson, it said sweetly. You are now the legal guardian of the noble genetic heirs of House Zol. Rights include protection, bonding approval, and cohabitation privileges. Co-what? Please note, revocation requires travel to Andromeda and a 43-year wait time. The hologram vanished. The women smiled. Maya whispered, so what's for breakfast, Daddy? Kale fainted. Kale didn't know what was worse, the pounding in his skull, the chaos in his ship, or the fact that 3 alien women were arguing over who got to sleep closest to him. He rubbed his temples and stared at the capsule in his hand, which pulsed like a smug little parasite. I'm not your father, or your guardian, or your anything, he muttered. You signed the bond, Trisha said, arms crossed, standing like a soldier on duty. The contract is sealed by biometric imprint and genetic compatibility. I was drunk. Consent is consent, Leary added, typing rapidly on her datapad. Also, your blood work indicates unusually high receptor alignment with biosequences. You're surprisingly compatible, almost engineered for it. That's comforting, Kale said dryly. What does that mean exactly? That we're bonded, Maya answered, sitting cross-legged on his bunk in what barely qualified as underwear. Your daddy, you take care of us, we take care of you, and maybe later. We do more than take care, she winked. Kale swallowed hard. He stood abruptly. No, this ends now. I'm finding Zolgar and giving him back his shiny space daughters. Then, I'm getting blackout drunk and forgetting all of this ever happened. 6 hours later, Kale was at Blood Spiral's departure terminal, watching the contrails of a cruiser vanish into the polluted atmosphere. According to the terminal agent, Baron Zolgar had left just after dawn for the pleasure moons of Jupiter. He'd left a message. 2. A hologram played, showing Zolgar looking far too sober and way too satisfied. Thank you for relieving me of my burdens. The gene harvesters were closing in. A noble must make sacrifices. Yes. You'll find them loyal, mostly. Just don't let them near any fertility temples. Oh, and if anyone asks never heard of me, best of luck. You'll need it. The hologram ended. Kale didn't scream, but it was close. When he returned to his ship, it was worse than before. Trisha had turned the gravy train into a fortress defensive perimeter. Scanners, even something that looked like anti-personnel mines, standard protection measures, she said flatly when he tripped over a tripwire. Leary had ripped open his nav system and was reassembling it, with tools he didn't recognize. I've improved engine output by 37%. Also, your backup oxygen valve was leaking plasma. You're welcome. Maya had redecorated his sleeping quarters with cushions, glowing crystals, and scented fabrics. It's a love nest now, she purred. So cozy. So ... us. Kale ran, both hands down his face. You can't just take over my ship. Correction? Trisha said. We're enhancing it. You're enhancing my headache. A blaring alarm interrupted them. Kale's internal ship sensors screaming like banshees. Corporate vessel entering airspace. Trisha reported, eyes locked on her scanner. They're sweeping for Zolgar genetic markers. Kale froze. What does that mean? Leary emerged from the engine bay, unusually pale. They've found us. They're here for us. For our genetic imprint. Genetic imprint, Kale repeated. Like, to harvest. Preferably while we're still breathing, Leary confirmed. Maya perked up like she'd just been handed a treat. Oh. A chase. I'm not ready for a chase, Kale shouted. This is insane. Then get ready, Trisha said, strapping into the gunner seat. Daddy, Kale's jaw tightened. Stop calling me that. But his body moved on, instinct pilot reflexes kicking in. His hands flew over the console. The gravy train roared. To life, engines howling. They're launching drones, Trisha reported, targeting system glowing under her fingertips. We're boxed in, unless we go through the station's defense grid. Through, Kale said. You mean suicidal gap-avoiding maneuver? Through. Leary was suddenly at his shoulder, her voice calm. I rewired the engines. Epsilon 9 maneuver. You'll feel it. I don't even know what that is. Now you do, she said, tapping a button. The ship lunged, and Kale barely kept control as they spiraled between two fuel towers. Two drones collided behind them in a fiery explosion. I found the weapons locker, Maya squealed, bouncing into his lap and flipping a hidden switch. A laser cannon popped out of the ship's underbelly and blew a drone to pieces. I'm good with toys. Kale was losing his mind, but the ship, it flew smoother than ever, like it had been waiting for this kind of madness. We're not getting away clean, Kale muttered. No, Trisha said. We fight. Correction, Leary added, tapping her screen. We hunt the hunters now. As the gravy train punched into hyperspace, leaving the wreckage of drones and a furious corporate cruiser behind, Kale let out a shaky breath. He looked at the three alien women, his so-called companions, and realized the nightmare wasn't ending. It had only just begun. The gravy train emerged from hyperspace just outside the Kronos 9 system, a salvage station, welded together from broken freighters, dead mining ships, and greed. Its blinking lights and tangled scaffolding looked like a graveyard held together by duct tape and bribes. Kale sat in the pilot's chair, rubbing his temples. The adrenaline crash hit hard. They had escaped, barely. But escape was a temporary word now. What the hell do we do next? He asked, no one in particular. We need credits, Leary answered from the navigation console. Fuel, food, parts. Our stealth field is damaged. I can fence some parts on Kronos 9, Kale muttered. I've got a contact. Drex, greedy bastard, but he pays in real credits. I'm coming with you, Trisha said, her tone leaving. No room for argument. No way. He's twitchy around military types. Then I'll look less military, she said, already pulling a black jacket over her jumpsuit. Leary adjusted her glasses. We should all go. Maya skipped by in a tight technician's uniform, slapping Kale's butt. Field trip. Daddy needs backup. No, Daddy needs quiet, Kale growled. But 6 hours later, all four of them were walking through Kronos 9's docking bay, Kale in a pilot's jacket, Leary disguised as a blue-skinned tech broker, Trisha, covered in tactical leather, and Maya, perched on his shoulder like an exotic pet. Inside, Drex's lair, part spice den, part weapons depot. The air reeked of chemicals and secrets. Jetson, Drex hissed, rising from behind a wall of crates. The reptilian merchant's silver-scaled face twisted into a smile. Missed your last shipment. Got clients sharpening knives. I've got something better, Kale said. New job. Drex gestured to a table and activated a holomap. Simple run. Pick up a cube from a Genetech facility below station level. Deliver it to Cygnus Outpost. No questions. Kale tensed. Genetech. They won't even know you're there, Drex assured. It's just a data cube. Leary's voice was calm but sharp. We'll need schematics and security protocols. Drex blinked. You hired good help. He transmitted the details to Kale's device. Outside, in the shadows of an alley, Kale rounded on his companions. Have you lost your minds? Genetech is hunting you. Which is why we break in, Leary said. Their database will tell us everything: locations, agents, future moves. Plus, Maya added with a grin, it sounds fun. It's suicide. Only if we fail. Trisha said. Kale sighed. He wasn't in control. He hadn't been since that bar fight on Blood Spiral. He stared at them three, deadly, intelligent, genetically engineered beauties. They were fugitives, hunted, powerful, and somehow, his. Fine, he said, but we do it my way. No heroics, no improvising. They all grinned like they already knew he was lying. Later that night, dressed in stolen Gene uniforms, they slipped through Kronos 9's industrial sector. Trisha created a loud diversion at the front entrance. Explosions and gunfire sent guards scrambling. Kale, Leary, and Maya slipped through maintenance shafts, dodging patrols and scanners. 23 minutes before our genetic scramblers fail, Leary whispered, "Move fast." They reached the server room. Leary plugged in, fingers flying. Kale paced. Maya pressed against him unnecessarily close. "Relax, Daddy," she whispered. "We're good at this." "I wasn't built for spy games," he said. "You were built for us," she replied, brushing her lips near his neck. He nearly dropped his blaster. "Got it," Leary said, yanking the cube from its cradle. Download complete. But footsteps echoed down the hallway. "Too many scramblers have 5 minutes." Leary hissed. Kale shoved them into a narrow alcove and stepped into the hallway. 3 guards entered, scanning. Kale lifted his hands. "Hey, bathrooms that way." The guards raised stun rifles. Kale ran. A bolt hit his shoulder. He staggered, barely staying upright. His scrambler blinked red. One of the guards shouted, "Genetic anomaly. Non-standard human with Imperian markers." They knew he was changing. They tackled him. The last thing he saw before the world went dark was Leary's terrified eyes peeking from the shadows. Then Maya's fingers against her lips. He woke strapped to a metal table. Lights blazed. Machines hummed. A woman in a lab coat loomed over him, scanner in hand. "Mr. Jetson," she said, "you are something remarkable." "Where? Hela? You're not going to die. Not yet." Another figure entered, a tall man in a black suit with the cold eyes of a career monster. "I'm Director Holloway," he said, "and you're going to help us unlock immortality." Kale's head throbbed. "Did I drink?" he croaked. "More like who?" "Vexler," the scientist answered. "The bond is changing you, merging human with Imperian DNA. We've waited years for someone like you," Holloway added. "A perfect guardian vessel." Kale struggled, but the restraints held. Then the lights flickered. An alarm blared. Holloway's smile faded. "What now?" "Containment breach," said a tech from behind the glass. Kale grinned. "You didn't think they'd leave me, did you?" Kale didn't have long to savor the look of panic on Director Holloway's face. Another explosion rocked the lab, shaking. Lights loose from the ceiling. The facility's sirens screamed in a dozen languages. Somewhere beyond the wall of reinforced glass, doors slammed and panicked voices echoed. "Security breach level 3. Intruders in containment zones." Vexler cursed under her breath and turned toward a terminal, barking rapid-fire orders. "Lock down the east corridor. Deploy drones. Track energy signatures." Another explosion closer this time. Then, a grate near the ceiling popped open, and something small and fast dropped from the shadows onto Kale's chest. "Miss me, Daddy," Maya purred, eyes gleaming. Her voice as smug as it was sweet. He couldn't speak, his throat was still thick from the paralytic. But he managed a groggy smirk. Maya whipped out a surgical laser and sliced through his restraints in 3 swift cuts. "Don't worry, we're all here." The lab door blew apart before Vexler could shout another command. Trisha stormed through the smoke like a goddess of war. Armed with twin plasma cannons she'd clearly stolen from Genetech's own security arsenal. Behind her, bodies littered the hallway. "Step away from him," Trisha said, voice like a death sentence. "Wait," Holloway stammered. "This man is corporate property. He signed the bond. He's ours," Trisha corrected. "And we don't share." Leary appeared in the doorway next, holding a datapad in one hand, a plasma disruptor in the other. Her glasses glowed with synced security feeds. "Their entire system's been compromised. I've downloaded everything: agent rosters, target locations, hidden labs. But we have exactly 7 minutes before auto-reset protocols kick in. Maya helped Kale sit up as his limbs finally obeyed. He still felt dizzy, but the bond, whatever it really was burning through the last traces of the drugs. Can you walk? She asked. Not well. I've got you, Trisha said, holstering her cannons. She scooped him up like he weighed nothing, cradling him in her arms as they sprinted for the corridor. Holloway made one last desperate move toward a wall-mounted alert panel. Leary didn't even flinch. She tripped him effortlessly, then knelt beside him, placing a small device on his chest. It beeped ominously. This is a data package, she said coolly. Every disgusting thing your company's done. It'll go live to every planetary net across 16 systems if I don't input a cancel code within the hour. You're bluffing, Holloway spat. I designed encryption for the Imperial archive, Leary replied, her voice ice. Test me. She rose without waiting for a reply. As they sprinted down the corridor, the sounds of security teams, clashing weapons, and malfunctioning systems echoed behind them. You came back from me? Kale managed to whisper, still half limp. In Trisha's arms. Of course we did, she said. You're ours, Maya added with a cheeky grin. Even if you're still grumpy about it. Back at the gravy train. Leary sealed the hatch while Maya bounced to the cockpit and flipped switches like a pro. Get us out of here, Kale ordered, barely upright in the co-pilot's seat. Now, already on it, Daddy, Maya said. With glee, engines roared. The ship lifted, GENETECH drones scrambled, but Trisha was already at the gunner seat, targeting pursuit units. Leary's voice came through calmly. As always, modified stealth field engaged. Plotting evasive exit through maintenance tunnels, Kale stared at the three of them, still breathless. They had risked everything to save him, not because of a contract, not because they had to, because they wanted to. He looked down at his own, hence his skin still faintly glowing with that impossible purple shimmer. The bond was changing him. Faster now. He wasn't just a smuggler anymore, and he wasn't just theirs. They were his too. They reached orbit as the station vanished behind them in a cloud of smoke and flickering lights. We're clear, Maya announced. Destination. Kale looked at them, his team, his disaster, his family. Wherever Genetech isn't, he said, let's find somewhere to lay low. Leary adjusted her glasses. Sentimental prime, neutral system, obsessed with family values. They'll never question a guardianship bond. Kale sighed. Please tell me it's not as weird as it sounds. Maya leaned close, whispering against his ear. It's weirder. Way weirder. Trisha smiled softly from the weapons console. Perfect. The gravy train descended into Sentimental Prime's atmosphere with surprising grace for a ship that had been shot, patched, and flown by chaos incarnate. Kale Jetson sat in the pilot's seat, blinking at the display like it was a hallucination. Are those rotating teddy bears in orbit? Yes, Leary confirmed. Geosynchronous promotional mascots. The planet's theme is romantic and familial bonding. They're serious about it, and that he pointed as they passed a massive holographic banner that read, All bonds matter. Their annual bonding festival begins tomorrow, Trisha added. This will be the safest place in the sector for us. Safe, right? Kale didn't feel safe. He felt like a man walking into a trap made of heart-shaped glitter and feelings. They landed at a heart-themed port. Literally. The landing pad was pink. A round pink-skinned alien, wearing 7 painted hearts on his face, greeted them with arms wide. Welcome to Sentimental Prime, he gushed. I'm Greeter. That's my job, and my name. We detected your guardianship signature, and oh my stars, you brought 3 companions. Kale opened his mouth to correct him, then caught Trisha's glare and shut it. Greeter pressed a garish flower necklace around his neck. You must join the festival. New guardians are honored guests. We've already registered your unit for the Galactic #1 Daddy contest. I'm sorry. The what? Kale asked. You'll be amazing, Greeter squealed, dragging them to a hover carriage shaped like a plush heart. I hate this, Kale muttered as Maya laid her head on his shoulder. I hate everything. I love it, she sighed. Their accommodations were worse. A heart-shaped building, one massive circular bed. Roses in the walls, pillow mists that sprayed lavender every 5 minutes. This place is a nightmare, Kale declared. It's perfect, Maya said, already sprawled across the bed in a lacy outfit that didn't even pretend to cover much. Plenty of space for us and Daddy. Trisha had already begun securing the perimeter. Leary was scanning the building's systems. Surprisingly well encrypted. No corporate surveillance. We're truly off-grid. Kale dropped into a vibrating massage chair that immediately moaned with pleasure. He closed his eyes. We stay 2 days. No weird bonding rituals. No contest. We fix the ship and disappear. A tone chimed. Leary checked the console. Secure transmission. Routed through 7 proxies. He stood, put it through. A hologram flickered to life, a weathered face, gray hair, military scars. The voice was blunt. Jetson. I'm Commander Zena. We need to talk. Do I know you? No. But I know who you're bonded with, and what that makes you. The sisters TENSED.CANNA continued. I work with an organization that rescues genetic experiments. We've been watching Genetech for years. Your stunt on Kronos 9 made waves. We want to meet. Why should we trust you? Trisha asked, moving between the hologram and the others. Because Gene, the Empire, and the Church of Imperian Ascension are all on their way here. You've triggered a beacon, whether you meant to or not. You've got hours, maybe less. Meet me tomorrow. Old Market Square. Come alone. The feed cut. It's a trap, Trisha said immediately. Possibly, Leary replied. But encryption was legitimate. She may be real. I'll go, Kale said. If she's telling the truth, we need allies. You are not going alone, Trisha snapped. It's the only way they'll trust me, Kale argued. And if I'm caught, I'd rather go down alone than risk the 3 of you. They hated it. But they didn't stop him. That night, Kale tried to sleep. He couldn't. He was no longer just a smuggler. He was changing. His skin glowed faintly violet under moonlight. His pupils narrowed into slits, and in the mirror, he saw something else. Purpose. The next morning, just after sunrise, Maya was the first to stir. She curled around his side, sleepy and warm. Don't go, she murmured. I have to, he whispered. Just a meeting. I'll be back. Her arms tightened. We're bonded, Kale. Don't break it. He kissed her forehead. I'm not. He looked down at the 3 alien women wrapped around him like stars in orbit. He didn't want to run anymore. He didn't want to be just the guy who won a drinking contest. He wanted to be what they believed he could be. Whatever happens, he whispered, I'll come back to you. Then he slipped out of bed, dressed in silence, and walked into a festival built on hearts and illusions. Tomorrow, everything would change.